Okay, Enoch. So, this is what I just sent you in the mail. This is a 2-point adjustable sling. It's the Sheriff of Baghdad style sling that adjusts all the way up in the front. So this buckle will be up towards the end of your rails happen. I've already got your rail mount installed for you, but I'll try and either insert or show you how this is folded. But it's through the tri-glide, through the rail adapter, back through the tri-glide, and then the tail is retained by the front of the tri-glide again. And I'll show you on the back of the sling too. But, okay. Alright, so in the bag I sent you, there's also an Allen wrench and 3 screws. You only need 2 of the screws. Let's grab our trusty rifle. Alright. Alright, so there's also a silicone band for sling retention. They're disposable. They handle heat pretty well. So, alright, first thing, make sure your rifle's clear. This one is. Alright, so sling adapter can actually go either way, but since I'm sending it to you pre-assembled, you want the big loop up and out to facing away from the weapon, just like this. So, sling adapter has to slide on, it doesn't clip on. Slides on, and you put it anywhere you want on this rail. A lot of people put it back here. I like it forward, up here. Alright. Grab the Allen wrench and 2 of the screws from the bag I sent you. Alright, the screws have to pass through the mount, and then they also have to pass through the slots in the rail. So find yourself 2 of the slots and wiggle them all the way through. And the big secret here is you want to start both of them before you completely tighten them, because if you jam it down real tight, you'll find that the other one can't actually start in the threads. Just a quirk about these. Give a little pressure backwards just for good measure. And then a little half turn just to finish it off with the high tension side. Alright. Alright, so now you have the front of your sling attached to your weapon. Alright. Moving towards the rear, here's how you put the these silicone bands stretch like crazy, so you can just go over the whole stock. I like to put it behind this thing that holds the adjuster on. Stock length adjustment button thing. That kind of keeps it all secure. It's not that tight, but it's enough to S-fold and throw your sling under. Alright. Onto this piece. Alright, this is some like 1/4 inch Paramax, big 550 cord. It's just tied in a knot and it's heat shrunk to make this big stopper knot. Alright. Since you're right-handed, I think the sling should come from the right side of the stock. That way the rear portion of the stock will actually push tighter into your shoulder rather than be pulled away by the sling. Alright, so this end of the loop is just going to go through that horizontal slot in the standard M4 stock. Alright, it's tight for a reason. That way it can't make it all the way through and drop your weapon. Anyway, just tug on it until that nubbin sits in this recessed space and is unobtrusive. Alright, at this point, now you have a big high-test 550 cord, or not 550, high-test paracord loop sticking out the other end. Flip back over to the right side. Keep the sling flat against the rifle. You should always stay in this orientation until you get to these tri-glides. Alright, so it'll make more sense once you see it in practice, but for right now, with this flat relative to that, we're going to turn 90 degrees, alright, so that now it's the upside of the sling is headed over the stock. Flip the rifle over, alright. Now we're going to go through that paracord loop. Now through the first tri-glide, and this one's going to be a pretty tight engagement, alright. Through the second half of that tri-glide, All right, now this is your gross adjustment on the sling. This is if you decide that you want more slop or you want it tighter all the time. This is where you adjust this length to control that. All right. The second tri-glide is just for retaining the adjustment portion of the sling. So you go through that, make sure this is nice and tight. Now you take your tail and whip it back through the first slot that you entered on the last tri-glide. Just like that. All right, so you got kind of a snail roll. All right. That means that on the far side of the rifle, the sling can go straight up or straight back, but it's deterred from rolling the far away from you. It can do it, but it won't naturally do it. All right. So to use this silicone retaining band, push the meat of the sling flat against the stock, flip it over, pull from the front, pull back until you get like a big ass loop here, and then just start S-folding your webbing under. Alright, this isn't crucial. Most people don't bother with these, but I bought a bunch, so I'm throwing one in for you. But this is just handy if you're getting on an airplane or something. It just keeps your sling tight against the rifle while you're not using it. Let's do the more ranger way. I'm not giving a fuck. There we go. But anyway, that's the meat and potatoes. To redeploy, grab and yank. Now your sling's out. Once it's on your body, you rapidly adjust by pulling this big green tubular nylon piece. All right. And then more importantly, you rapidly release by pushing the rifle away from your body while you grab this thing. And now you've got a nice longer sling to operate with. But anyway, that's the meat and potatoes of this. Hi again, Enoch. All right. I decided anonymity was too important. I might change my mind later, but for now I don't want anyone to see my face. All right, so let's take a moment and explain to you the more or less basics of this sling I sent you. Okay, it's very simple 2-point sling. Like I said in the first part of the video, I've got that nubbin through the sop mod stock pushed out to, I'm right-handed, so it pushes out to my right side on the back of this stock and swings 90 degrees vertical. If you look down, it hangs not flat, but it doesn't invert, you know. That's the biggest thing you want to avoid. Okay. All the controls for this sling are up front right here, and they're always here no matter what happens. There's no moving buckle like on the Magpul one or the Blue Force Gear one or the Sphinx one, or you name it, got it nice and loose right now. Plenty of room to get my shoulder in and out. All right. Plenty of room to switch shoulders if I'm going to do some crazy Navy SEAL shit. Okay, suppose I want a more exaggerated strong shooting position. I pull that tubular loop. Now all of a sudden I've got that triangular support. So even though I'm standing, I have a little bit better accuracy, a little bit better stability. At least now it's down to my gut, not on my shoulders and lungs and neck and everything. All right, pull in more webbing. And now it's nice and tight to my torso. All right, I can do other stuff. I can fucking perform medical procedures. I can pick up jerry cans, and it stays on my chest. All right, I can also, if I need to, get it back here, even though everybody in the Army will tell you that that's dangerous now because they're pussies. All right, loosen her up again. All right, I decided on this length because I can walk around with my sling wide open, riding on my left side, which is always how it was, but now it's like the Solid Snake way from Metal Gear 4 or 5 or whatever. But you cruise around the fob all day like this, it counts as forward of your body, so the fucking line cook master sergeant will leave you alone. Alright, mine's a fist under my nipple as a reference point, but it's just be where you're comfortable. Shouldn't be dragging your muzzle but it also shouldn't be riding up here, you know. Oh, that's controlled with the back buckles I mentioned earlier. So there you go. Oh. I get thirsty talking through all that cotton. Oh. Okay, back to anonymity. Anyway, if you got more questions, text me. If you're somebody that's not Enoch and you got questions, I guess, I don't know how you'd get a hold of me, but ask. This works on any normal rifle. This front spot works. It can work here if you like it. I like it out here. The further the better in my personal opinion. Though it does, you know, this control using the tubular webbing loop takes some getting used to, and the sling takes some break-in time. But just remember, the heat shrink side lets you loosen up, and loosening is much more important than tightening. Tightening can happen later, you know. So anyway, happy Easter.